Now, you said something about the Jerry Curl crew era. Good Fred, oil hair turn orange. Can you explain what you meant by that?
You one of the most curious youngsters I've ever seen in my life. God bless Mr. Good Fred. They still off of 54th and Western. Their family still got his establishment. For some people whose hair was not done right or whose hair didn't take right, see, when you get your Jerry curl back in the days, you couldn't have no drugs in you because it wouldn't take. The chemicals, it was a collision. It was a chemical collision inside your body. Okay? That's why you see most of the brothers today my age are bald headed. Because them chemicals was eating us up. See, they started out with the afro. Then they hit us with the gunk, like the Malcolm X days, that hot stuff that lied to knock your hair down.
S Curl.
No, sir. Let me tell you what happened. That's why our show Wild Moguls is good, because we're really wild moguls in this conversation. No S curl. That's way down the line. That's way down there like Rampart compared to SSU. First it was the afro. Then they hit us with the lie that you made it straight. That's what Malcolm X had. Then after that, they hit us with the finger waves. Then after the finger waves, they hit us with that Jheri curl. And the reason I'm talking about this Jheri curl, because let me tell you something about that Jheri curl, Mr. Jheri. Mr. Jheri curl era had to be the most vicious, misled, destructive era of black men that ever hit the planet. When you think about, ask some of your viewers about that Jheri curl era and that gangbang crew. That was a whole nother animal. I believe them chemicals was affecting our thought process, to be honest with you. But that Jheri curl crew, that's the real 80s drive-by, shoot the house up, wear your khakis, wear your 501c3s, get your clothes from, what's that spot? There was a little store they had, Western Surplus or something like that, over there near the Coliseum. You get your khakis and your whole gang kit, you know what I mean? And it's so crazy because one time I was with a friend of mine and I was trying to explain to him how easy it is to become a wannabe gangster or gang member until you get to be one. So I went to the liquor store and I said, man, can I get some gloves? I got the little brownies. I said, man, let me get a hat. Got me a little hat. I got a t-shirt. I wasn't gonna wear it or nothing. I got some, I think I got one of the little belts and some Lokes. Remember they used to sell the Lokes?
Yeah.
Everybody had Lokes, the real Jones. And then the Spanish brothers had the brush in the palm of their hand. Used to do their hair like this, you know what I mean, with their pants jacked up. And I used to tell my boy, I said, man, I'm going to get me a gangbanger starter kit. So they promoted this stuff in our community. You know how much money that Old English made off of black people and poor people and brown people? You know how much money Dayton's made? You know how much money Nardi steering wheels made? El Camino? You know how much money they made? The car industry didn't start making money when the rappers came. The car industry started making money when that cocaine got there. Them El Caminos, them 454s, them Suzuki trucks. See, y'all missed all that. The big beat in the back of the car. Y'all missed all that, man, unfortunately. But that was the days when you listening to the fat boys are back. Because you
Like
know
85,
you can never be
88.
whack. I don't know what 5 and what 8 it was. All I know is that, boy, you would, and it wasn't because we were young, but Los Angeles was lit. Crenshaw was lit. We had a show called, on KJLH called Peace Treaty. Tony Bogard, Daoud, a bunch of brothers, Tyreek, a bunch of us in there. Chocolate came through there from Long Beach, Snoop, to Daz and all them dudes. And before Daz and them came, we used to come outside and we had to jump in the car like the Beatles. There'd be so many people outside trying to holler at us. Thousands and thousands every week. Because our show was on a Sunday night, and Crenshaw used to be lit on Sunday nights. For those of y'all that remember, that's old enough to remember the Peace Treaty show, Peacemaker was my only situation. I've done it in radio, TV, and print, and everything that I've ever done in the industry was to advocate for peace for us because I got the instructions from y'all. This ain't no Malik show. This is what the people say do. Let me tell you a quick story. Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, was having a conversation one day, I believe. I'm not telling the story correct, but fly with me. And somebody walked up, hey, such and such died. Do you, the good prophet, peace and blessings of Allah be upon you, do you think he went to heaven or hell? They said the prophet turned around and said, what did the people say? Were you an asshole? Were you a good person? What did the people say determines where you go, because a good name is worth more than gold. So always remember that, young people. Don't get a bunch of enemies that you can't keep up with when you get older and then tired of running the streets. Because like Pac said in his song, it's okay to run the streets. Shorty want to be a thug, but you can run the streets, but watch the stop signs.
Yeah.
You know who's the coldest rapper that ever lived? And I want you to play this song on this over this conversation or somewhere in it. But you ever heard that song by Tupac called Not Only God Can Judge Me? But anyhow, it'll come to me. But that Tupac Shakur was a bad boy. If you really listen to him, just really listen to Pac. I don't care how old you are, but listen to Pac. You be like, dude, where you get that from at that young age?
But now, there's a lot of things. I seen that, and I love Pac, and I felt where he could have been, but what he actually did is he was a part of the destruction of our community, because he took hip hop and turned it in from being a battle, not necessarily him, but he was a young cat, but the machine helped
I
portray
beg to
it.
differ. And if I do it Wild Mogul style, I say, man, you sound stupid than a motherfucker.
All right.
You know why?
I'm just
you
giving
my
you a
nigga,
perspective.
so
I'm
we
just
agree
giving you
to
a
disagree.
perspective. I want to hear your perspective. That's why I'm saying
my point
it.
is, first of all, like Kendrick Lamar said, take a spoonful of liquor and you dive in. Tupac was already in the, see, the marathon go like this. There's some people in the marathon that's gonna be running, drinking water, hurting their knees, stopping, triaging, and some more shit. Family hooping and hollering and clowning. Then there's some people that's gonna be in the victory lap. But you're still in the marathon. So with Tupac just dove in head first with a spoonful of liquor and dove in, but he was already a product of that poverty. He just knew what vein to hit. He didn't create something like that. That's the hidden hand did that. He just talked about it. He didn't contribute to it. He was just a product of it. If you was walking to the middle of a tornado, you in the middle of the tornado with the rest of that stuff that's spinning around. Tupac didn't create nothing that was already, Tupac got into something that he may not have been totally familiar with. See, there's only 3 people that I know of that was able to function on the West Coast, and it's from the East Coast. And I'll give credit to Tretch from whatever show he was on, whatever group he was with. There was myself.
Naughty by Nature.
Yes, Naughty by Nature. There was myself, Ice-T, and Tupac. We're all bi-coastal. And none of us are bisexual. There's only 3 that function in the fabric, in the petri dish of Los Angeles. Like Nip say, I'm from LA from a certain section. That don't mean your block or how tough your block is. That mean you endured the masses of the stuff that was handed down to you. Tupac didn't have the ability to create nothing like that. That's not in his nature. His thing was to expose the hidden hand, and in the process, he was willing to sacrifice his life as a martyr for it. So he had to agitate it as much as he can and expose it as much as he can, but you also have to participate in it. You can't be on the outside of the club talking about the food on the inside, popping bottles and playing with the girls. You can't be no hater. You outside the club. So Tupac didn't come and create nothing. He didn't use, hip-hop was already destined for greatness long before Tupac. with the last poets and them type dudes, or Rudy Ray Moe and all them dudes. Tupac could.
No, what I meant to say is until Hit 'Em Up came out, rap kept rap, but it turned personal when Hit 'Em Up. It became now you didn't just rap metaphorically and just about bars. You took it from bars, but it's now real. So when I see you in the streets, it's on. Like
Well, the copy will never be worth more than the original. And he didn't take it from nothing. He tried to keep you from going behind bars by jumping on the front line in front of the gun. He didn't take something. You can't extrapolate fake from real. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna extrapolate, real from fake. It's not gonna happen. So when Tupac got in it and he talked about what he was doing, he was speaking on behalf of the people. You know why? Because they asked him, what did the people say? It goes back to character. Because so he jumped in like the spook who sat by the door, which is a great book I suggest, and Behold there come a pale horse. But he jumped in under the auspices of entertainment, but he had a message to deliver that was prophetic.
what do you feel? What do you feel about 50 Cent?
50 Cent's a genius. He's a marketing genius, and 50 Cent is out of my community. I'm not out of his, out of Jamaica, Queens. And every time I see 50, give me my respect. I seen 50 once before, and there's a pizza place on Melrose in like Van Ness or something, or Arlington, I'm not certain, on the corner of Mozo's or Mazzo's. And he's like, Malik. I pulled over, and I went in the restaurant with him, and we sat down. And I said, man, throw a nigga something, 50, let me owe something. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, dude, you know, if you owe that dude $30, 50 cents, he coming to get it.
He coming to get that shit.
You know, he coming to get it. And I love that about him. You know why? Because if 50 didn't have what he had, God forbid, he'd probably be deceased. Then that man lost his mama in them streets. So his program in his brain was already pre-programmed before he became 50. See, he's not the real 50 Cents. He's just a character 50 Cents. He's Curtis, as your man would say. What's this dude's name? I can't think of his name, and he's a popular dude on the internet. Charleston White would say. He goes by your character that your mother gave you before you became the person that you are, when he makes that metaphor, with minus the disrespect. But the real 50 Cent was a youngster out of New York that was a real hitter and a real money getter. Just like people say Suge Knight. Suge Knight was an extraordinary person in the entertainment business, and he did what Suge Knight does. But the real Suge that I remember was killed picking up his Rolls Royce, I believe, in Detroit at the place where you pick up stuff, like in San Pedro, what do you call it, the ports. But he was a drug dealer, allegedly. That's the real Suge.
Wow.
Okay? You got to know these things. And like the real Rick Ross, Freeway Rick Ross is the real Freeway Rick Ross.
Yeah.
But these kids are indoctrinated with our lifestyles, and then they just go out and they recreate it in their own way, write themselves into the script, and then they come out with what they come out with. You can't be mad at them. We've been getting plagiarized and ripped off for years.